You're busy, you've got a decent practice, but nobody wants to be decent. You want to be great, and you want to have a great practice. So how did the most productive, profitable dentist in the nation balance real life, work, and profits, and somehow make it all seem fun? Well, it comes down to simple, everyday practices. So grab a lunch, join us as we chat with top clinicians and influencers to discover their formula for uncommon success. Are you ready? Then it's time to explore everyday practices with Vicki McManus-Peterson and Dr. Chad Johnson.
Well, I am so excited that I am here with my really good friend, Heidi Mount of Heidi Mount Consulting. She is a virtual consultant to dental practices across the nation. And unfortunately, Chad is a little under the weather today, so we're going to just have girl time. And I'm so excited you're here, Heidi.
Thank you so much. I love your podcast.
So where are you calling in from? Where do you live?
Right now I'm in Newberg, Oregon.
Yes. And your dream?
Well, to be one of your neighbors there in Kona.
I don't think the island can handle it if you and I were both here in Kona at the same time. So I'm definitely podcasting from rainy Kona, Hawaii today. Well, the rest of the country's in snow, so I'm not going to complain about that. So Heidi, I want to jump right in here. You know, we're known for these like short, compelling podcasts, and you're one of my heroes because as a consultant, you break all the rules, right? There's no long engagements, there's no in-office, but you really are called into some situations that need a quick turnaround. Would you say that's fair?
That is very fair, yeah.
So what does it look like? I know you're going to be speaking at Dental Town, and one of your topics is, my team heard you speak at Delivering Wow in Jamaica with Anissa Holmes, and you say, I will show you how to put $500 on your schedule tomorrow. So where do you look for that? How do you get that quick a result?
Yeah, for sure. Working in so many practices, I just developed habits, and it's all about daily habits, right? You know, it's all about reviewing your schedule and opportunities, because what I find is that most of our revenue loss is from missed opportunities.
Okay.
To review these schedules and figure out what is going on. For example, I'll see in somebody's schedule that, you know, we have a family coming in, and we have a mom and a dad and a couple kids. And so we're scheduling the mom, the kids are coming in for a cleaning, and I'll notice the subscriber says non-patient. We're like, really? They're right there in front of your face. We know they have insurance. They're probably either going somewhere else or haven't seen a dentist at all. And so many times just by a simple asking, hey, who's your dentist? And they're like, oh, I don't know. Or we haven't met your husband. You know, who's taking care of him? And they're like, oh, he hasn't been to the dentist in years.
Right.
Could be one answer. Or, boy, it sure would be nice to have everybody at the same office. So right. We gain a new patient just by that simple one tip. And, you know, even if you went through your entire practice list and looked for just those patients, that's just instant new patients to your practice that are just right there in front of your face.
So I'm going to just put this in perspective. If you did that once a month and we're successful, then you have 12 new patients, and an average new patient value is, let's call it $1,500. I'll do hygiene math. We'll call it $2,000. You just added that one tip, just added $20,000 to $25,000 to my practice.
Exactly.
So it's simple and powerful.
Very powerful. You already have rapport. It just works all the time. Another tip would be, you know, maybe there's a 3-year-old sitting with the mom while the big sister is getting the teeth cleaned. Well, if we don't ask, you know, hey, I'd really like to see little Susie before she jumps on a trampoline and busts out her front teeth, and that's her first visit at our office. We really want her riding in the chair and having a good time. We want her loving us and trusting us so we can start cleaning her whole mouth and things like that. People don't think to ask because, they're only 2, they're only 3. I don't care if we put them in as a new patient, as a 2-year-old, and even set up their recare to, you know, follow up with them in 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, whatever your protocol is.
A lot of practices will do that at 1, right?
Yeah.
And they're doing prenatal, and they're educating the mom.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so important. Well, a lot of moms think they need to go to a pediatric dentist.
Right.
I'm from the 80s. It was pedodontist, but now I know that's not okay to say.
I love it. I love it. You know, one of the tricks that I did when I was a hygienist is whenever I had a new patient that was a kiddo, I would put the mom in the chair first. I would say, Mom, would you show, Billy how this is going to go? And then I would put gloves on the kid and I would say, you're going to be the dentist. You want to be the dentist? And like, sure. And give him a little plastic mouth mirror and say, okay, tell mom to say ah. And so the child got to look at the mom's teeth, but I also got to look at the mom's teeth. And I would have an intraoral camera and I would say, well, watch this. You can look in the mirror. We can look at it on the screen. So now I've got all 4 quads of the mom's mouth. I did a simple cursory exam and she never even knew like that was going to happen. And then I'd say, oh, Mom, I said, wow, you've got some older fillings, but we'll talk about that later. This is Billy's time. So now the mom is sitting there looking at her own teeth on the screen while her son is being well cared for in the chair. And instantly, that's all the mom needs sometimes, that bridge into, will you take good care of my kids? Will you take good care of me? Right?
I love it. You're so much nicer. What I did is I had them squirt them up and have a water fight. It's all about
that's more fun. That's a heck of a lot more fun. It's a lot more fun. So those are 2 really, really great tips. What do you see in terms, we talk a lot at PDA about the scheduling roller coaster, where you've got a $5,000 day today and nothing but crown seats tomorrow. Do you see that with some of your clients?
In the beginning, we are all about creating habits. And the reason why you have that roller coaster income is because of roller coaster effort, right? You get real busy. And so you start treating all the patients and you move. And then, hey, what's happening to next month or next week or what have you? And that's because the calls stopped, the effort stopped, the campaign stopped, the marketing stopped, whatever. There's a little bit, you got to do a little of everything to have it all just happen consistently.
I see. So how do you chunk it down for me? How do you make this so it's not overwhelming for the team?
Well, you do have to chunk it down into specific responsibilities per person. So everyone has a task they're supposed to be working on. And what I tell my clients is whatever your daily goal is, I want that scheduled every single day. It doesn't matter when it's scheduled, like you can have $200 on tomorrow's schedule and $3,000 on next week. But if it's scheduled every day, eventually it's just a habit to always schedule that amount and it all pans out. I call it like a conveyor belt. You're constantly feeding it so it just stays even. But yeah, everybody has to have a specific goal, a specific job description for what their key metrics are that they're going to report. So for example, maybe one front office person would be reviewing the accounts and seeing, what we need to collect, past due, present, whatever it is, like make sure that money doesn't walk out the back door.
I gotcha. Yeah, I'm seeing a real shift in insurance and collections and AR shift. We took on a new client the other day, and the aha moment was that you could confirm benefits online because they were still on hold with the insurance company for hours on end. And we're like, there's a better way. So you and I have been in the industry about the same amount of time. What are some of those fun things that have made it easier to manage an office? What do you see that's making it easier today?
Yeah, and I do love, the online benefits or outsourcing or what have you. So you're not paying work comp on the employee, you're not retraining and all that bit. But you definitely have to weigh it all out. And, sometimes it's really simple things and maybe even old fashioned. If I'm talking to a patient that's, coming into the office, possibly they're a millennial or they're a teacher, they know how to use a computer. I just have them go online and print their benefits and bring it in. And I say, just give those to me and I'll make sure to translate it all for you. So then, because sometimes you don't have that online eligibility or a way to get it, but people are frustrated with getting the benefits. Well, why not just put it on the patient's responsibility?
So now they've got some buy-in to their own care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we're not quoting and saying, well, we'll see if your insurance covers it. We're getting that insurance out of there. Like, we'll just let you know, we'll translate it for you and let you know how they're going to help.
I love it. So how did you start in dentistry? You didn't just wake up one day and go, I'm going to be a virtual coach. Where did you come from?
Apparently, I had the same dentist my whole life. And apparently, when I was 18, he said, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said, I'm thinking a dental hygienist or a dentist. And he had a paper chart and showed me when I was 3 years old that I said I wanted to be a dentist. So it was written in the notes there. And I cracked up about that. But it was such a great office. I always had a great experience and everything. And it basically boiled down to I had to kind of go after what I wanted. And what I really loved is to actually be a step ahead of the doctor handing him instruments. So I decided to be a dental assistant first. I thought that was cool, that I had to figure out what he wanted, or he or she, what they wanted, and be a step ahead. So I was really into, like, every patient was different and it was super exciting. And it's kind of funny. My first job was a front deskless office. Do you remember those?
I do.
Yeah. So in the 80s, that was really popular. And we did front deskless office. And being that I was an assistant with no front desk, I had to really learn my systems, because I still had to clean and order products, stock them, quote, reactivate, the whole shebang. So I had my systems really designed well, even on my first job. But basically, I was working I worked in 2 states as a licensed dental assistant and office manager, in California and Oregon. And actually what happened is my dad was working really, really, really hard, just like dentistry, right? And as soon as he retired, he passed away. And my take on that was he worked too hard. And I knew I was helping a lot of dentists throughout my office manager days. Dentists and office managers were constantly taking me to lunch or having me at their office or helping or training. I was constantly coaching. Sometimes an office would have a debate and they're like, well, let's call Heidi and see what she would do. And so I was always giving kind of the business advice. And I realized that, for every dentist I work for, I'm only helping 1 or 2 or 3 dentists, when I could be helping dozens and dozens and dozens. And I thought, there's a million in-office consultants. However, what do the people do that are on the islands or can't afford to pay for an in-office coach or whatever? So I decided to be a virtual coach and give it a go, and thought, somebody might want to just receive some business coaching over lunch and a pizza. And so that's what I started doing. And we screen shared and we role played, and we just kind of set goals and reverse engineered it, and off we went.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I didn't realize that your background and mine is so interesting. When I went to hygiene school, my mom gave me this framed letter that I had written to the tooth fairy. and I still have that. When I started consulting, she gave that to me. And when I graduated hygiene school, and it said, "Dear fairy, I lost my tooth. My doggy swallowed my tooth. You can look in my mouth in the upper right-hand corner to prove this," right? So I'm like instructing this imaginary fairy to come look in my mouth in my sleep to prove that I lost a tooth and my doggy swallowed it. And then it said, and I was also destined for marketing, because it said, P.S. It was bright and shiny because I've been brushing my very good every day. So I'm like selling myself to the tooth fairy for that quarter.
I love it.
Hilarious. And with your coaching, PDA, we've got a blended model like that too. We do a lot of Zoom conferencing. I love the technology. It's helping us roll forward faster in team training. And then we have other clients that want to do the in-office because there's such value in the team building. So I see the same thing you do, that, I need solutions today and I need long-term effort. So I love that. You also are a huge advocate for marketing. What is your philosophy of marketing? What should doctors be thinking about in that area of their practice?
Yeah, it's a good question. A lot of dentists are always asking, should I send a mailer? Should I do social media? Should I do this? Should I do that? And honestly, you have to do a little of everything. You have to do something and see what the return on investment will get, because every area is different, every market's different. But the first thing I would say is, what do you want to market? What is your niche? and what makes you different from the dentist next door. Because I mean, I worked in San Francisco. There was a dentist on every corner. There were 3
Sure.
in the building and all that bit. But what makes you different? So sometimes you have to start with Google stalking your own dentist.
Oh,
Surrounding dentist. If one's advertising implants and you do implants, maybe you want to advertise something different. Got missing teeth, or something different. I don't know. But I think you should check out what everybody else is advertising and be different. If everybody's saying they're a family dentist, what makes you different than the dentist down the street? So first is figuring out your niche and what type of patients you want to attract. I know when a lot of people are new, they do the $69 cleanings, exams, or whatever, and then later they complain that nobody wants to pay. So
right.
We have to make sure to know what type of patients make us happy. Which ones do you like to work on instead of marketing to everybody? The way I explain it is kind of like if I was going to advertise that I'm going to help you diet or lose weight, anybody can advertise a diet or a health coach or this or that. But if I said, you know what, I help you lose 2 inches off your waist for middle-aged women, I'm going to kind of look like an expert in that area.
Right.
So to me, instead of advertising to everyone, let's just advertise to a few select people.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, jump on the social media bandwagon. It's everywhere, but you got to figure out how are you going to get noticed on Instagram and what have you. Video is everything. People have got to get over, did I videotape right? Just be yourself. It doesn't matter, just like, I don't care if you're videotaping you and your cat, your kids or whatever, but people want to know who you are. So you need to have video on your website, in your social media, in your emails, just everywhere that you can have video.
Well, I think you bring up a really good point, and it is an everyday practice, and it's an easy thing to say, but it is a hard thing to do. But genuine, authentic marketing is what works, right? And so we have to kind of be willing to take off this mask of perfection, unless that is the persona you want in the marketplace, right? So there's the persona of prestige and excellence, and you showcase that. There's the persona of trust. That's what we market for Bruce is everyday people, extraordinary results, and we really market his brand as trust, right? He's been here, done that, top dentist, clinician, speaker, lecturer. And so people are driving, more than 50% of his patients drive 50 miles or more to come see him in Granbury. So he's pulling from Dallas, Fort Worth into Granbury, probably because at this point in his career, he would have done an implant on every man, woman, child, and dog in Granbury. So, we're able to, but you're right. Until you really understand who you are at your authentic core, that can be fun, that can be engaging, that can be lively, that can be trustworthy, that can be all of those core values. And then you target who your personas are. So mid-career male professional seeking job advancement is much more specific than, need teeth. I think some of the larger national media companies, all clinical techniques aside, I think they're doing a compelling job of telling the patient's story of, I had no teeth. I didn't like to go to my family reunion. I went, and a day later, 2 days later, I had this gorgeous smile. So I think the consumers are waking up and saying, I want a dentist who can help me in that way. I mean, I run into so many friends who are like, oh my God, you're in dentistry. Tell me about, people crave wanting to know how to stay healthy. They're craving that now. So do you look out over the horizon of dentistry, we'll come out of the office for a second and just kind of look globally. Do you see some trends that dentists ought to be paying attention to, or team training trends, marketing trends, just general business trends? What are you seeing happening in the marketplace?
Well, I see us not advertising so much technology like we did in the past, right? It's all that, we have the technology.
We have CIRAC, we have.
Yeah, I don't think patients care like we think they do. It's
right.
Big expensive piece of equipment, but
I have doctors who want us to keyword search LANAP, and we're like, but no one looks for that. They don't even know what it is. So, yeah,
I see the same thing, but I think overall we need to build more relationships and get known around the community.
Because there's nothing that can replace that heartfelt.
Yeah, and I think really embrace the before and after pictures, because I mean, if you really want to make an impact, if you see a bride, that I take pictures for weddings just for fun, and oh my gosh, sometimes I'm so embarrassed to give the photo. I take this beautiful headshot of the woman with beautiful hair and their makeup's done, and this beautiful white dress and flowers and the whole bit. She's smiling, and all I can see is her darn silver facial filling. And I feel like, gosh, can I show this to people to show? Don't regret your wedding pictures that you look dirty, or you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Oh, you don't Photoshop that for them?
Oh, it's a lot of work. I try. I just don't even give it to them, but because yeah.
Yeah. Brides were a really great market.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Bridal magazines work well too.
So what other, you're going to be in Dentaltown, speaking at the Townie Conference. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Well, yeah, I'm actually having a 90-minute session there and a workshop that we're going to get down and dirty and solve some problems right in there, and role play and talk about all the things for case acceptance and, the top ways to make money. I'll be speaking for Dental Win-Win in Texas, and that is at the end of April. And then I'll be speaking for Dental Marketing That Converts. We're going to talk about how to market the ideal patients, and then also all the 6 steps that go along with that to seal the deal. How do we get them from point A to point B? And I think that's kind of a big portion in a dental office, is knowing we all work as a team. If that front desk is not marketing well, answering the phone and getting people to value that they made the right office and that we look forward to seeing them, it's really hard to get them to trust us or get them to show up for the appointments.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so much that goes hand in hand. I mean, you know how you hand a treatment plan to people and it looks like some foreign,
language.
Yeah. That, that's not going to work when you're just pointing out a bunch of numbers and how much insurance covers. That is not how to present a treatment plan or go over finances. So I think each person needs to know their role in the practice and really practice it. Walk it.
You help identify bad habits and then break them and get them to good, empowering habits. Yeah,
I mean, people will ask, how do I improve my case acceptance? But it's like, where do we begin? I mean,
right.
We've got to figure out if they, they're a yes to me, but then they get up front and they're a no. And it's like, well, it's not her fault that she's quoting something they didn't even value.
Right.
It could go, we don't know who, we have to hear how everybody's doing it.
That's right.
Figure it out. To me, they should be a yes before you give them the money or give them the fee. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We believe the same thing. I don't know if we still use the acronym Pasta. That was one I've always loved. So you help identify the problem that they're having. It could be aesthetic or functional. The great news is that we have an answer for that. And then you sell the solution, like you really spotlight the doctor and his expertise. Then you talk about time. Would you prefer to take care, whether it takes 3 months or 3 years, that's totally up to you. Here's what we see. Here's how we can help you. Here's your risk factors. And put them in control of the process, right? And then affordability is the last piece of it. So once they've self-identified, I have this problem, you have the answers, I love this solution, the doctor that's here, yes, this is how I want to fit into my schedule. Now, and most practices, this would be my practical tip, and I heard this a lot when I was financial coordinator, most people hear, will my insurance cover this, as the patient saying that I'm unwilling to pay out of pocket. They hear it as a no. And they put all this junk, like they had low dental IQ, I hate my insurance patients, all this garbage that should not be in their head. And then number 2, when they say, well, how much is that going to cost? Do you have payment plans? They think, well, this isn't my ideal patient. But I'm going to just lift the mystery out of all of this. There is no upper middle class I've been saving for years to restore my wrecked mouth waiting for you to come along and rescue me. There are not enough patients in this country to make that a profitable business model. So what I hear you saying is very congruent. My thoughts is meet people where they're at. Make it easy for them to do business with you. Make it easy for them to say yes. Make the welcoming process from the phone and the reception area wonderful. Make the care terrific. Be in relationship with them, and then really just be in relationship, right? We've got this agreed upon course of action. You came here for a reason. We're here to serve you. How do we work in your schedule in a way that works for our schedule? And how do we help work this into your budget? I mean, it's really simple, except for the million details, right?
Well, and some people do spend 45 minutes typing up 6 different treatment plans, and I don't agree with that. I think it's a big old waste of time. Why don't you figure out what their budget is and what they want to do, and give them 2 options on how to pay for it?
I love it. I love it.
Simple, like if they can only afford $200 a month, we got to figure something out. But we should be able to tell them. They don't know that, oh, have you ever thought about borrowing from an uncle or a grandparent? Or, oh, yeah, they said they'd loan me money for medical. I wonder if this will count. I'm like, well, this affects your health. Of course it will.
Right. Or health savings plans at your work. We work a lot with compassionate finance. There's so many creative ways.
Yeah. So once they tell you what their budget is, you just give them the solution.
I love it. Well, I can't wait. I'm so excited that your star is rising, that you are going to be on many, many more speaking platforms. The industry needs your voice. We all need your voice and perspective. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you, Heidi?
Yeah, my email is great, Heidi, Heidi, at coachingdentist.com. The dentist is singular because I'm just thinking of you. Or I have if you want to get like 10 secrets to increasing tomorrow's revenue, you can opt in to coachingdentist.com, and you'll get some monthly tips on there also.
Ooh, more secrets. I love it. Heidi, I just have one more question that we ask everyone, and a top of mind first response: bacon or eggs?
Oh, bacon.
Bacon. Crunchy. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for being with us today.
You're so welcome.
Bring your lunch or take us to the gym again next week to improve your everyday practices. Also, subscribe on iTunes, follow us on social media, and sign up for our email list. Now get out there and win with everyday practices.